How are things?
You're either very unobservant or very rude. I thought I'd meet some of my colleagues from years past, chat with them and reminisce, but they all turn their heads away and treat me like air.
Mages aren't known for being polite.
You're telling me. They threw me out of Banard the first chance they got. Must have beaten the Chancellor one too many times. They've all forgotten me and I believe I've had enough. I'm getting rid of the grimoires and amulets. I don't want anything to do with mages.
I'd like to cast an eye at those if you don't mind.
Sure. Cast both if you want.
Anything on the Wild Hunt in your collection?
I'd avoid the topic altogether. Nothing good has ever come to those who have delved.
I'll take my chances. I need to know why the Wraiths carry off youths. What happens to them?
This knowledge has never been recorded, which does not mean it cannot be acquired.
Well, I'd like to acquire it.
In the chasms beneath Loch Muin, there is a sword that once belonged to an elf from the parallel world.
And nobody's gone to look for it?
There are mages who seek it still, but the sword is well concealed. They say he who handles it will understand the essence of the Wild Hunt. Could that be true, though?
I'd like to play dice poker.
Want to play now? You just ended a lifelong winning streak.
And you owe me some coin. Or you can pay in kind.
What's your preference?
I think I'll take the coin.
Yes?
The mages will be overjoyed if you sign their treaty. Any idea who'd be the advisor in Vengerberg?
They insist on appointing the advisors themselves, though I doubt Saskia will accept that.
Anything can happen.
That lass will allow no one to control her. I've been observing her. She's a splendid commander.
Making her even more dangerous if anyone manages to manipulate her.
I'm not sure I understand.
Just thinking aloud. I guess you're here about the war with Kedwin.
They wouldn't let us near Natalis, and Radovid refuses an audience. Scandalous. The mages drone on about their coven of advisors, but even they don't take us seriously. Perhaps the prince could get something, but I'm not certain they'll let him into the talks. Henselt protested, and the others are too cowardly to stand up to him. As a result, we are not officially here.
Henselt can't openly interfere in your matters.
Who's to stop him? He claims the prince is preparing to set a dangerous precedent by eradicating serfdom.
Terrible crime. Next thing you know, he'll do away with court protocol.
Good day.
I'm Geralt.
Brass of Banard. I remember you from Thanad. I believe I saw you in Oxenfurt, too.
Seems we only ever meet on Elvenland.
Indeed. But I suspect you're not here to chat about elven ruins.
On the contrary, I find elven ruins interesting.
Do you really? Elven works are not half as interesting as gnomish ones.
But even ruined, Loch Muin is impressive. It must have been beautiful in the times of the First Conclave.
Everything was better before the war, as they say. The sources, those children that old Geoffrey Monk brought here to train in the magic arts, must have walked around gaping at all they saw.
Somehow I just can't imagine Hen Gedimdeath as a small gawking boy.
You met him? Ah, right, on Thanad. His death was a terrible loss. Terrible. You see, Geralt, everyone complains about how the world is taking a turn for the worse.
Values are being compromised. The small is dislodging the great.
Exactly. But the events on Thanad truly marked the end of an era. The world grew up, losing its virginity in a rape.
What use are masters of magic and legendary heroes to a grown-up world?
They're of no use, that's the point. Today, people manage perfectly well without mages, witches, and heroes.
Yet not everyone understands that, and not everyone likes it.
You're so clever you'll get in trouble. We'd best change the subject.
Actually, I'm here because of your weapon expertise.
I'm no expert.
You're the best swordsmith among mages.
I'm more interested in the cultural relics of other races, actually.
I'm going to need a solid cultural relic in my hand.
I guess the circumstances require haste.
I'm interested in the Wild Hunt. Any chance you know something about it?
No, birds are not exactly my speciality.
Thanks.
Take care.
Turn away the black...
What do you want?
Just curious to see what you were doing. I'll be going now.
Go, go! And don't come back!
The owl and the rat! Likewise, the frog.
Diddle yourself, pauper.
The White Wolf?
Damn you.
We've broken through! In the right spot!
Quiet. Stand ready. He killed Vanamar.
And many other mages. I know who he is, Cynthia.
In the same city as Philippa, and you didn't even bother to change your name. That takes balls.
Philippa's out of the picture. She's been arrested.
And I was supposed to die, but I didn't. Grave error.
I'll make you a deal.
You don't get it. You turned Triss into a cold stone. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why I shouldn't turn you into a cold corpse.
She is alive and well. We decompressed her successfully. There were no complications.
And the interrogation after she was decompressed? Because you did interrogate her.
I personally supervised it. We presented the tools, gave her a few bruises, and that sufficed to get her to talk.
Cynthia, tell him to shut up or I'll kill him.
Silence, Adelbert. That's an order. Witcher, help me complete my mission. Help me open Der Henner's laboratory.
What'll you give me?
I've read the intelligence reports. I know your past. There are things in there, important things you don't remember.
I could force you to tell me.
I don't think so. Will you torture me? We both know you couldn't.
We'll come back to that. How can I get into the Nilfgaardian camp?
There's one entrance. Beyond it, a long, heavily guarded corridor. You can't hope to sneak in. Renwald Matson chose the spot specifically to avoid being surprised.
Where are you holding Triss?
At the back of the camp, beneath a ruined building.
You're gonna help me free her?
Not likely. You're better off killing me now. You've no idea what the Emperor's intelligence apparatus does to turncoats.
Why are you here?
We suspect Der Henner's laboratory may contain documents and books that could be useful to the Imperial Academy of Science.
That wasn't even close to funny. You're lying.
We don't know what's inside. Der Henner was a talented man, but also an eccentric.
What do you hope to find?
That's confidential. I cannot tell you. Regardless, we need your help. The laboratory lies beneath the Redanian camp, which we cannot penetrate above ground. We want to get there through the sewers, but can't manage it without a capable swordsman.
About that offer. Fine. I'll help you open the laboratory.
In exchange, I'll tell you all I can. Do we have a deal?
Yeah.
Are we likely to encounter drowners? Or a related species? Perhaps other monsters?
That is how this world's built. Sewers are infested with monsters.
Ghouls?
No. Watch.
Be sure of it.
Ever noticed how monster entrails differ completely from human intestines?
No rats are running around sewers. What are we looking for, anyway? Some graves, I heard.
Graves? So maybe there is something in this for us.
Shut your traps. Want the sergeant to hear? We've been deep shite.
We've got company.
Redanian bastards.
The entrance must be somewhere here.
If our experts are to be trusted.
Dehenna dabbled in illusions, among other things.
He also experimented heavily with golems.
Golems with the power of speech, supposedly. They knew nothing of poetry, but...
Will you two shut up?
Yes, it's an illusion. I found a weak spot. Stand back. Later, Elorn. Lisa Elorn. Later, dear!
At times I'm caught. You can get my kind of feat. Though I have no needles, they say I am piercing. What am I?
Careful with the answer. It could be a trap.
Typical of Dehenna. He was a genius with a penchant for mischievous jokes, like a child.
So a couple of adults, purported experts, should have no problem solving this.
Indeed, it's trivial. The answer is pain.
Incorrect.
No! Impossible! So many years of research together. Why did we ever embark on this? Imagine the books, the potions.
I'm seen to fly, described as hard. I can be your currency and heal all wounds, but not many things can stand my test.
Time.
Correct.
It's going rather well so far.
Not for everybody. Someone's been here recently.
Well, the competition's here. Kill them!
Let a Nordling.
Another guardian. Later, Elorn. Lisa Elorn. Later, dear! It's reacting to my spell.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Did I hear someone complain about the riddles being too easy?
Let's think this through. There are 9 alcoves, a fresco in each. That's 3 groups of 3 frescoes.
The riddle mentions 3 guides above the travelers. We must examine the frescoes, seek answers there.
I'll advise you about the riddle, but I will not take part in disarming the device. I've got a bad feeling about this.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
What do you think of the first verse?
I would say it describes a serpentine dragon swallowing its own tail, which represents infinity and thus time. The hourglass likewise symbolizes time. In this case, the time of the traveler's journey.
I believe it's the dragon constellation. It would be visible at night. What's more, sources on alchemy invariably portray dragons as winged, and as an accomplished alchemist, Gehenna would also be a competent astrologer. The verse must refer to the constellation.
In alchemy, the winged serpentine dragon represents prime matter, an essential component in the process of alchemical transformation. The verse seems to indicate the allegory illustrating that transformation.
It should be the dragon constellation.
I shall take that one.
What do you think of the second verse?
To my mind, it speaks of the white rose, symbol of the Order of the Flaming Rose. You see, the fresco itself resembles a coat of arms, and in heraldry silver is rendered as white. So the Silver Lady and White Rose are one and the same.
I think it describes the full moon. In alchemy, the moon represents both silver as a metal and the feminine element.
The Order remains largely unknown in the south, so the White Rose seems unlikely. Every Nilfgaardian, on the other hand, has heard of the Imperial Nausicaa Brigade, which has the Death's Head as its symbol. The brigade's name is female, and they say death follows the unit. So the Silver Lady could very well be Nausicaa or the Death's Head.
I think it's the full moon.
Allow me.
What do you say to the third verse?
It describes the precipice, the ravine amidst mountains. An ancient rule in alchemy states, as above, so below. The vault is the ravine into which the riches of the mountain flow.
We must read the third line literally. To me, it suggests the Mahakam Mountains and its mines, from which dwarves and gnomes extract many ores that are invaluable to alchemists. Those mountains are a vault in and of themselves.
The verse is not literal. In many legends, towers are in fact vaults, which the hero must penetrate in order to rescue an imprisoned princess or find a long-concealed magic item. The mountain vault is the tower.
The mine entrance in the mountainside. That seems logical. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will.
detected.
No!
Our expedition has grown thin. Such a shame. I actually found those two amusing.
Shut up.
Of course, my lady.
A golem? So Derhenna's legend is true?
It is no more than an obedient machine created to follow orders and kill. Not unlike our Witcher.
So I guess we should get along famously.
You? What do you know about golems?
I don't run into them in every forest, but any good bestiary describes golems at length, and I've read more than my share of those.
Geralt, I'm not questioning your knowledge, but I should be the one to...
Actually, you are questioning my knowledge. Listen, I know what I'm doing. I'll try to get it to reveal the word that'll deactivate it, or I'll just mess with its head. Break the code.
So now we've got a burglar in our midst. Be my guest. Try.
My intentions are good.
As are mine. Know, however, that this may change.
Derhenna must have been pretty lonely if he gave you eloquence.
The Master made me a guardian. Nothing less, nothing more. And you, provided you stand there, are a guest.
So you're aware you're an automaton?
Do we really know who we are, where we came from, and where we are headed? Is human life predictable in that the cycle of birth and death ensnares it, better than mine? When a human is born, he is obedient to his parents. Later, he listens to tutors, masters, corporals. Finally, he succumbs to the will of death.
And to think that Adalbert questioned Derhenna's mastery. Who, if anyone, is allowed to pass?
Derhenna, but he is dead. Also guests may pass, but I stop intruders.
Tell me more. Who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Is it not obvious? A guest keeps his distance, or knows the name word. An intruder is anyone who enters too far, attacks me, or otherwise interferes with my being.
Has anyone tried to enter before?
I recall no intruders. I do, however, remember guests who left after being warned.
When was that? What did you discuss?
I am a machine. My memory is limited.
You're far more self-aware than a typical golem. Can you make sovereign decisions?
The Master made me the way I am, because long discussions were to his liking. I can make decisions, within my program, of course.
So you decide who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Who else would? Guests chat innocuously, exerting no pressure. All others are intruders.
I have other questions. Do you remember your creator?
Of course. I was summoned into being by Master Derhenna. I abide by his will, by his power, by the necessity encased in my stone bowels.
Derhenna is dead.
His word, which animates me, lives on, as does his legacy, which I protect. Empires will rise and fall, rivers will shift their courses, but I will remain obedient to one master on my eternal watch.
You're not an automaton. You're self-aware, and you think you can make decisions.
You're wrong. I am eloquent and can discern between guests and intruders. I can also deal with the latter. But everything I say and do is limited by my restrictive program. By the way, as an automaton, I am immune to all charms. Stop the intruders.
Wonder how many more to
laboratory.
Let's have a look. This is better than I'd hoped.
A great success for Nilfgaard, this mission.
Maybe you'll get that promotion.
Dad mentioned some bacteria strains.
Can you feel that?
My medallion's vibrating.
Another masking illusion. I'll try to disperse it. Later. Later, Eleanor. Lisa, Eleanor. Later. Dear!
The device. What is it?
You've done your job. You'll be paid and...
Paid like the scholars were? They died once they were no longer useful.
They were never useful, but Cynthia insisted. Fortunately, they were so kind as to remove themselves without my help.
I'm not about to be that kind.
Adelbert, you know what you're to look for.
Yes, Mom.
It's a prototype megascope. I didn't know it had survived.
What's it do?
The artifact detects an emotional bond with a person. Its user need only focus on that person and the device will establish a connection.
Great tool for a spy.
Yes.
Time you fulfilled your end of the bargain. What do you know about my past?
You were a rider of the Wild Hunt. I read the reports.
Don't the Nilfgaardians have anything better to do than write reports about witchers?
Not about witchers. About you. You are the sole person to have been a member of the host, and survived.
Anything else? Any detail you can give me would be useful.
Don't trust Letho.
You think I trust the people I hunt?
He's your foe today, but he wasn't always.
How do you know I knew Letho?
I've read...
The reports, I know. Why are you warning me about him?
Because I like you.
Is there anything to prove I was part of the Wild Hunt?
Nothing. Apart from the fact that Nilfgaardian intelligence agents are drawn and quartered for lying in their reports.
An enlightened nation indeed.
You haven't the faintest notion how many people are interested in you. Very important people.
Just because I survived?
You're a former rider of the hunt, and you live. You may be the key to solving the mystery of the retinue. And they all know that. You must watch out for yourself.
Let's say you've satisfied my curiosity.
Well then, consider me glad to have satisfied a witcher, whatever the way.
I'd like to try out the device.
You realize that can only end badly.
Cut in again and I'll put you in my report. You may use it, but just once.
Giving state secrets away to a Nordling. Will you mention that in your report?
You're sure to be named a commander one day, Adelbert. But until that happens, be a good boy and do your job.
Article 22 of the Code is clear. Suspicion of treason is sufficient grounds to strip a commander of power. Article 1 of my personal code is equally clear. Traitors must be subjected to the most painful death possible.
Multiplication. Second year at the academy, all mages learn it.
I didn't expect you to take my side.
Well, now choose one person you wish to contact. After that, the artifact's mine.
Nilfgaardian agents get quartered for lying in reports. What does the Empire do to agents who kill their colleagues?
Nothing. As long as no one finds out.
Will we meet again?
I wouldn't mind at all. Look for me at the inn.
Let's say you've satisfied my curiosity.
Well then, consider me glad to have satisfied a witcher, whatever the way.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't eavesdrop while I eavesdropped.
I shan't trouble you. I have a lot of work to do here.
Your fate is in your hands, sorceress.
My fate? You haven't asked a single question about me.
Yet it is all up to you. Your situation is a comfortable one. Do not squander your chance. So, wish to tell me anything?
I'm a sorceress, an advisor to the King of Temeria.
I believe we agreed you would speak only of things I do not know about.
I hope you learned something useful.
I'm just sorry I can't use the artifact a few more times.
Its power has been depleted.
I understand. Thanks anyway.
Too bad about that.
Diana's notes from a mutation procedure manual. Diana's notes about the city's history. Diana describes finding an important document about the Franz.
At your service.
The White Wolf.
Renounce magic, I tell you! Shatter your...
We need to talk.
Of course.
These ruins must hold many secrets.
I'm certain of that. It was a beautiful city. A city full of talent and hope. But that ill ended with the coming of the Nordling armies.
Think the city would have survived if those armies had been Imperial?
Your king started the war with the Enshe. Nilfgaard's relations with the elves have always been peaceful.
They really did a job on your brain. You had me fooled back in Vergen. That sweet face of yours. Never suspected it could belong to someone who fanatically believes in conquering the North.
Mock me if you must. But I truly believe one huge empire is humanity's only hope. Many nations under one crown. With shared laws, advanced science, burgeoning industry and trade, and no wars, of course.
Sounds great. Let me know when it works out. I'd gladly spend my old age in a land like that. That was an interesting adventure, Cynthia.
Yes. People bond over experiences like that.
Yeah, kinda makes you wonder what happened back in Vergen. Did you get your promotion?
Not yet. But His Imperial Majesty rewards dedication.
Can he discern the truth from lies?
What do you mean?
I take it the Emperor has no idea his sorceress helped a mutant kill a Nilfgaardian mage.
It was a dangerous expedition. Casualties were inevitable. He'll content himself with that.
Got time to talk? Or are you off on another dangerous mission?
Even we Nilfgaardian agents rest sometimes.
You knew what we'd find in that laboratory.
Come again?
You wanted the bacteria strains that killed the Vrans, or more precisely, Derhenna's notes from his research into them.
This is very dangerous knowledge.
I suspect that's exactly why the Emperor is so interested.
The North is in chaos. An epidemic is the last thing you need. And one could break out if Derhenna's book fell into the wrong hands.
Fortunately, it's now in the right hands. In Emir's civilized and manicured hands.
Precisely.
I found some of Derhenna's notes. He studied the history of the Vrans, right?
Among other things.
He makes several mentions of an epidemic.
Loch Muin conceals many more secrets than we imagined. I doubt we'll ever know all of them.
Well, if Derhenna's to be trusted, the epidemic had something to do with the Enshe. Maybe the Vrans caught the disease from the elves.
I'm no expert on... Who knows? Perhaps Derhenna was right, and the decline of Vrani civilization was much darker and more sudden than we thought.
Used the artifact yet?
I'm working on improving it. I think it'll be useful one day.
I'm finding it hard to believe anything you say.
Did you come here to insult me?
No. Sorry.
What exactly do you want?
I was curious. I wanted to see which Cynthia I'd meet this time. The spy, the sorceress, or maybe the woman.
Which were you hoping to meet?
The real one.
Let's assume you're speaking to her. How do you like her?
Let's say I like her quite a bit.
Compliments are clearly not your forte.
I just told you why I've come. Care to tell me why you invited me?
Let's say I was interested to see which Geralt would show up.
And? The minstrels got it right. Women of the South are both passionate and clever.
I like to improvise.
Yeah, I noticed. Farewell, Cynthia.
Verfail.
This would never happen if the Conclave still existed.
And if Grandma had a moustache, she'd be a catfish.
We must protest with all our power.
Oh, shut up.
Tell me what you know about those gargoyles that are bothering you.
They were servants of the mages who once lived in Loch Muin. The mages left, but the gargoyles remained behind. They're still lethal. The quarters they guard are simply inaccessible.
Shatter your towers and crystal balls! Break your wands and burn your hats!
Your very existence is an insult to the gods.
How many more can there be?
Renounce magic, I tell you!
Pop in for a visit whenever you like.
Shatter your towers and crystal walls!
Interex, John Tallis. He is ready to
prepare for your final lesson.
Final? But
I'll have no discussion. This will be a practical object lesson.
How many more can there be?
who defied his king's rule. The Lord of the Wild Hunt desires the gene of the Elder Blood. He seeks to fling open the gates between the worlds so that terror and destruction may reign. The King of the Hunt ordered me slain, and the wraiths born of his command assumed living form, pursuing me through the voids between the worlds for centuries. I have arrived at Loch Muin. Though tired, I know I will not rest. The riders of the hunt draw near. On my back, I can feel their deathly breath.
Prepare for your final lesson.
Final? But...
Constable John Metalis.
Interex John Metalis.
I found a manuscript that might help.
Interesting. This volume is sealed by ancient magic.
Only highly valuable things get that kind of protection.
Too true.
Do you know how to unlock it?
I'd need ingredients that can be obtained from certain monsters. Unfortunately, they don't occur around here. I'll need the pheromones of a Queen Endriga, the blood of a Necker warrior, and the brain of a Bulvor. We can substitute the tongue of a rot fiend for the harpy's egg.
Quite a list. I'll see what I can find. I have the ingredients you mentioned.
Unbelievable. Give them to me. We must get the proportions right. Done. Let's see what's in the manuscript. By the gods.
What did you find?
Instructions. A description of how to forge the legendary sword known as Kerm. The sword will be yours. You deserve it, Witcher. I will consider forging it an honor.
Thanks. So long.